Hey guys, what's up? Mr. Joe, how you doing? Hope you enjoyed the video yesterday of the Roman Colosseum and the bit about the brothers who were raised by a she-wolf and founded a city that turned into an empire, maybe. Um, so today we're going to talk about another engineering feat of the Romans. That's called the Pantheon in Rome, and it's a structure that's still standing today, and it's quite something. It's got a really cool history and some cool features, and we're going to talk about that here today. So today's video will be a little bit shorter than yesterday's. Remember to, once you're done, you can go onto the Google form and fill out the quiz, which some of you have done so far on the Colosseum. So good job. Keep doing it. Keep working hard. And let's go ahead and jump into the Pantheon. So the Pantheon in Rome. So the word Pantheon means to honor all gods. And the Pantheon was built to honor all the gods. Now, it was built after Jesus had been born. However, the Romans were pagans. They had not converted to Christianity, and they wouldn't for another 300 years. They still saw Christians as the enemy. So they were still honoring and worshiping the gods like the Greeks were. Remember in the Greek god video, we talked about the Greek gods and the Roman gods being very similar, just difference in names and some things like that. So they still honored all their gods, and that's one of the reasons why they think they built this temple. It's still standing due to the invention of concrete, and which is a Roman invention, and it revolutionized the way things were built. So here's a couple pictures of it. The Pantheon, it was built between 119 and 128 AD, so it took 9 years to build. And it was built by a guy named Hadrian, and he was the emperor of the Roman Empire at the time that it was being built. There were some buildings that were built prior to it in the same spot that had been burned down or destroyed. And then this one was built as a more permanent building, and it's still there today. It has the largest unsupported dome in the world, meaning that there's no structures holding this dome up. It's built all on its own. It relies on its own weight to keep it going. And that guy in the middle there is the oculus, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. So you can see in the picture here that it's a pretty good sized dome. It's a good sized building. It's not very tall, but it would stand out in a lot of cities. And it was originally, they think it was originally built as a temple. So here's some more pictures of it. You can see this is the outside of the Pantheon, and this is Latin for Agrippa was the guy who originally built it, I believe, or the architect, and he was basically just saying that he was a consul or a leader in Rome, and he had it built. Big pillars here. This is all lit up at night. You can see there's people there. It's a very popular destination. And here's the inside of it. This is a painting, but this is exactly what it looks like. You see the dome up here with the oculus and the light coming down with all these different statues and chapels in the Pantheon. So it's quite something. So the oculus is the big hole in the middle of the ceiling, and you can see here that it's shining the sun down here. It's quite a feat of engineering because the dome is not complete, so it's not supported. So again, they figured out a way to use its own weight to keep it from crumbling. A lot of experts think that it was built as a sundial to allow the Romans to help tell time because of the way the sun would hit in the temple at certain parts of the day and certain parts of the year. They also think that it was also designed, let me go back to it here, designed to, sorry, my daughter's being silly in the background. Something that it was designed to honor the day that Rome was founded, April 21st, which is coming up. They believe that was the official day that the city of Rome was founded. So they honored that day, April 21st. And they think a lot of that has to do with this building of this had a lot to do with that. There's not a plastic cover over the oculus, despite what some people might think. It is open to it, so open to the elements of the rain, the wind, and if they ever got snowed out over there, would come right through. Okay, so some of the cool facts about the Pantheon, in 609 AD, after the Roman Empire had converted to Christianity, they were no longer pagan, they were Christian. It was changed from a pagan temple to a Christian church. And today, it has been for a while, dedicated to St. Mary. And they still hold services in there from time to time. And that's pretty neat if you can ever get a chance to do that. The columns in the Pantheon are from Egypt and had to be transported by ship and barge to Rome. So check this out. The columns, I'm not sure if we can see a picture of them. I'm sure we can. So yeah, these guys right here, these columns here, were from a quarry in Egypt. And they were brought up the Nile River on barge and shipped across the Mediterranean Sea to Rome, so that this could be built. That in itself is amazing, given the technology of the day wasn't that great, but they figured out a way to cut the stones and get them onto a ship and ship it up all the way up to Rome. And this really is the best example of Roman engineering. It's still standing today. There's it's got that unsupported dome, largest in the world. It's got the columns, and it's just the way it sits, and its dominance in that area is pretty neat. Right near it, there's a let's see here. There's a couple pictures here. You see again the Agrippa on the front here. These big columns that are holding it up in here, and then out front, this is a picture from a little bit further away. You have the obelisk, which is a big deal. The big, this is like a fountain statue, and you see these all throughout Rome. But this is the area where people would go to congregate. You can see people eating outside. Quite a view when you're having lunch or dinner. Turn around and look at the Pantheon. Pretty neat. So that is the Pantheon of Rome. Again, to recap, it's now a church. It was a pagan temple. The columns are from Egypt. It is dedicated to St. Mary. The oculus does not have a plastic cover over it. They think it maybe is built as a sundial, and there's a light show on April 21st to honor the day Rome was founded, or so they think. It's got many different columns and statues and chapels in it. Built by the Emperor Hadrian, again the largest unsupported dome in the world, and a great feat of Roman engineering due to the concrete that it was invented by the Romans. So I hope you enjoyed it. You can always look it up on Google, do some more interesting digging about it. And tomorrow, I'm not quite sure what we're going to do, so look for your video lesson for tomorrow. Make sure you do the assessment after this. I hope you guys are staying safe and healthy, keeping out of trouble. If you have any questions, hit me up on Band app, and otherwise I'll talk to you all later. Bye, guys.